Hello everyone, welcome to Prelims Warm Up. We are looking at 5 important questions which have been asked in the previous year UPSC Prelims examination. These are very important for the upcoming Prelims examination as well. And this initiative has been brought to you by Actiplus Academy for Civil Services. My name is Shayak Datta. I am the faculty for Geography and Environment at Actiplus Academy for Civil Services. So let us look at the first question for today. The first question is from economics and a bit of agriculture as well. The first question is asking, okay, among the agricultural commodities imported by India, which one of the following accounts for the highest imports in terms of value in the last 5 years? Among the agricultural commodities imported by India, so 4 such commodities have been mentioned in the question. Which one of the following accounts for the highest imports in terms of value in the last 5 years? This question was asked in the year 2019 UPSC prelims. So the options given are A, spices, B, fresh fruits, C, pulses, and D, vegetable oils. Okay, so highest imports in terms of value in the last 5 years. That is what you need to find out. So like this, it becomes very difficult unless and until you are exactly aware of the figures, it becomes very difficult to arrive at the right answer. So, and also we get to see these are, I mean, it's very difficult to remember all these figures. For example, in this particular case, the answer could actually be found in India Yearbook 2019, chapter 15 on food. So that is where we get to see that there has been a table, and in that table, the data has been given that how much has been the import. So that is where we get to see that there has been a table, and in that table, the data has been last 5 years. And in this particular table, which was given in India Yearbook 2015 on food, so over here we get to see that the 2018. So as you can see, for vegetable oil, it is the highest. Okay, vegetable oil will be the highest. Pulses, fruits and vegetables, which was mentioned over here, they are comparatively less. Spices have not been given, which basically implies that there's a chance that either the value is very less or almost nil. Okay, so export data of spices has been given, but we cannot find import data in this particular table, which might imply that we are either importing very negligible amount of spices or almost nil amount. Okay, so oil in terms of import, in terms of value of import, vegetable oil is the commodity which has shown the highest value in the last 5 years. Okay, moving on to the second question. This is from polity and governance, and in the context of polity, which one of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? So again, asked in the year 2019 prelims, the question is asking, okay, which one of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? A, protection against the tyranny of political rulers. B, absence of restraint. C, opportunity to do whatever one likes. And D, opportunity to develop oneself fully. So what is meant by the definition of liberty in the context of Indian polity? So out of the given options, we get to see that D should be the most appropriate answer. Because when we talk about liberty, it does not mean protection against the tyranny of political rulers. It does not imply that there is an absence of restraint. Similarly, it also does not mean it is the opportunity to do whatever one likes. Rather, it basically implies that liberty, it is the opportunity to do opportunity to develop oneself fully. Now, to just go a little bit in depth and try to understand the meaning of liberty in the context of Indian polity, let's see. The term liberty, it means the absence of restraints on the activities of individuals, but at the same time providing opportunities for the development of individual personalities. Providing opportunities for the development of individual personalities. Liberty, as has been elaborated in our preamble, is very essential for the successful functioning of the Indian democratic system. However, liberty does not mean the license to do what one likes. Like, it's not like there are no restrictions. Okay, it does not mean that there is no restriction at all. Liberty hence does not mean the license to do what or whatever one likes, and it has to be enjoyed within the limitations which have been mentioned in the Constitution itself. So, in brief, the liberty conceived by the preamble or the fundamental rights, it is not absolute. Okay, our fundamental rights, they are not absolute, but it is qualified. There are some limitations, there are some restrictions. Hence, in the above question, the most appropriate definition of liberty is to provide the opportunity to develop oneself fully. Okay, so when we talk about liberty in the context of Indian polity, in the context of Indian preamble, it basically implies that the opportunity to develop oneself fully, that is the most appropriate definition for liberty. So the right option should be B. Moving on to question number 3. Again, this question has been taken from 2019 UPSC prelims examination, and this is from economics. So the question is asking, which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government or the RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? I'll repeat once again, which one of the following is not the most likely measure the government or the RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? So which is not the most likely measure? A. Curbing imports on non-essential goods and promoting exports. Now you see, when the slide of Indian rupee is taking place, which basically means that foreign exchange reserves are getting depleted, foreign exchange is flowing out of the country. So will the RBI try to curb imports of non-essential goods and try to promote export? Of course it will, right? Because if RBI, or let's say if the government is able to curb imports, for example, we get to see a lot of foreign exchange goes out in buying gold, and that is why we get to see the government from time to time will come up with various bonds like gold, sovereign gold bonds, which will try to restrict or reduce the import of gold. Okay, so curbing imports of non-essential goods, of course, because if we import less, then there are lesser chances of the foreign exchange going out of India, number one. And number two is promoting exports. Will the RBI or government try to do that? Yes, because the more export you promote, if you incentivize the exporters, automatically that will bring in a lot of foreign exchange. So A cannot be the answer, right? Because the question is asking which one of the following is not the most likely measure. So of course this is one of the measures which the RBI or the government will take. So A cannot be the answer. B. Encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds. Encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds. So these masala bonds, they are rupee denominated bonds. And of course, this is also one of the things which the government or the RBI would try to do in order to stop the slide of Indian rupees, in order to ensure or prevent foreign exchange from going out of India. C. Easing conditions related to external commercial borrowings. Easing conditions related to external commercial borrowing. Again, this is something which the RBI will want to do. Okay, external commercial borrowing, the companies in India, they would making conditions suitable so that they can borrow money from outside, they can bring in funds from outside. So that is something which RBI or the government will try to do. D. Following an expansionary monetary policy. Now, expansionary monetary policy means those measures which RBI will take in order to make loans cheaper. So what they will try to do, they will bring down the repo rate, and automatically what will happen, the loans will become cheaper. The banks will be getting money much easily from RBI, and hence they will also be able to give out loans in a much lesser interest rate, and automatically we will also get to see that the deposit rates will also start to fall. If the deposit rates start to fall, then you will not find too many depositors depositing money in the banks, rather because they will not get sufficient amount of interest. Then what will they do? They will have surplus money, because ultimately if there is an expansionary monetary policy that helps in releasing money, or there's surplus money which comes into the into the market, and automatically what will happen is people will want to purchase more. And once they start to purchase, like people have more money, more cash in their hands, so that will ease the flow of cash. So once people have more cash on their hands, they will want to buy more and more goods. They will try to buy luxury goods which they will import from outside, and automatically that will further deplete India's foreign exchange reserve. So D is definitely not one of the things that the RBI or the government will try to do, that is follow an expansionary monetary policy, because that will lead to further depletion of India's foreign exchange reserves. So 3D should be the right answer. Okay. So expansionary monetary policy, that is when the RBI would use its tools, would use its tools to stimulate the economy, which it increases the money supply. Expansionary monetary policy का मतलब क्या है कि it will increase the money supply in the system, it will lower the interest rates, it will increase the aggregate demand in the market. The lower interest rates will also tend to reduce the value of the currency. Domestic interest rates will fall, and if it falls relative to elsewhere, it will become less attractive to save money in the domestic banks. Okay, so if the banks, they are getting money easily from RBI, they will not need depositors to deposit their money in the bank. Automatically, there will be no incentive to increase the deposit rate. And then what will happen to the depositors? So they will have surplus money in their hands, and that will ultimately lead to them investing in luxury goods, buying more things from outside, and that will further deplete India's foreign exchange reserve. So it will lead to the outflow of foreign currency, and therefore the slide of Indian rupee will continue. So the answer should be D. Okay, now moving on to question number 4. Question number 4, it gives you 3 statements. Consider the following statements, and we get to see this is also from economics. The question is, okay, Reserve Bank of India's recent directives relating to storage of payment system. So there is also a part of current affairs involved over here. The RBI, Reserve Bank of India's recent directives relating to storage of payment system data, popularly known as data dictate, command the payment system providers that, so RBI's recent directives which is relating to storage of payment system data, which is also popularly called as data dictate. So it commands the payment system providers to do what? 1, they shall ensure that entire data relating to payment systems operated by them are stored in a system only in India. That is, so storage of payment system data, also called as data dictate. Does it imply that the payment system providers, they will ensure that entire data relating to the payment systems operated by them are stored in a system only in India? That is number 1. Number 2, they shall ensure that the systems are owned and operated by public sector enterprises. Number 3, they shall submit the consolidated system audit report to the CAG, or the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, by the end of the calendar year. So which out of these are correct with regards to the storage of payment system data? So you see over here, statement 2 and statement 3, they are not really correct. Okay, so both statements 2 as well as statement 3, that is not at all related or anywhere related to the storage of payment system. Rather, the first statement, that is the payment system providers, they are supposed to ensure that the entire data relating to payment systems which are operated by them are stored in a system. So for this question number 4, the correct answer should be A, 1 only. So A is the correct answer. And Reserve Bank's directive relating to the storage of payment system data, what does it provide? Let us see. All system providers shall ensure that the entire data relating to payment systems which are operated by them are stored in a system only in India. This data should include the full end-to-end transaction details, information which has been collected, carried, processed as part of the message and payment instructions. So all this data has to be stored in India only. For the foreign leg of the transaction, if any, then the data can also be stored in the foreign country if it is required. But when it comes to India, in that case, the data has to be stored in India only. Next, It also provides that the system providers shall ensure compliance of the first case, that is this first case above, within a period of 6 months, and it will report the compliance of the same to the RBI or the Reserve Bank latest by October 15, 2018. Okay, so they have to ensure this happens within a span of, so they had a time period of around 6 months by which they had to report to RBI saying that whether they have been able to comply with the condition. The third point that we have is saying that the system providers shall submit the system audit report or SAR on completion of the requirement, that is number one requirement. The audit should be conducted by CERT IN, impaneled auditors, certifying completion of this activity. Okay, so CERT IN, that is Computer Emergency Response Team India. So the impaneled auditors of CERT IN, they are supposed to certify the completion of the activity, that it has been done properly. It has the particular storage provider they have, or the payment provider, they have been able to fulfill the first condition, that will be certified by the auditors of CERT IN, and this has to be submitted. Okay, so the system providers, they shall submit the system audit report, and this audit report will be prepared by the auditors of CERT IN. Now this audit report is duly approved by the board of the system providers. It should be submitted to the RBI not later than December 31st, 2018. So again, don't have to remember it in such great details, but have a more or less have some knowledge regarding what the storage of payment system data talks about. Okay, so for question number 4, the correct answer should be A. Moving on to the last question for the day. Last question is a question from current affairs, which was there in the news in 2018-19. So which of the following adopted a law on data protection and privacy for its citizen, and which is, this law is known as the General Data Protection Regulation, General Data Protection Regulation, in April 2016, and started implementation from 25th May 2018. I'll repeat, which of the following, so a number of countries have been given, which of the following adopted a law on data protection and privacy for its citizen, which is known as the General Data Protection Regulation, in April of 2016, and started its implementation from 25th May 2018. So this was also asked in UPSC Prelims 2019. It is a question from mainly current affairs. A, Australia; B, Canada; C, the European Union; and D, the United States of America. So this General Data Protection Regulation, this was actually adopted by the European Union. So 5C should be the right answer. It was adopted by the European Union. So this General Data Protection Regulation, General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, it aims to protect all European Union citizens from data breaches. Okay, GDPR, that is General Data Protection Regulation, it aims to protect all European Union citizens from data breaches. The regulation, which was approved by the European Union Parliament in April 2016, after about 4 years of preparation and debate, came into effect on May 25th, 2018. So 2016 May, the European Union Parliament had approved this regulation, but ultimately it took 4 years of preparation and debate for it to be implemented, for it to come into effect, and it came into effect on May 25th, 2018. So what you have to remember over here is the General Data Protection Regulation. What does it try to do? It aims to protect all the European Union citizens from data breaches. Okay, so these were the 5 questions that had been asked in the previous year UPSC prelims, and hope you have liked this video. Please let us know in the comment section how you like this video, and please like, share, and also subscribe to AptiPlus's YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more such informative videos. We'll meet again. Till the next time, stay safe and study hard. Thank you so much.
I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.